They marched under the banner of the cross, but followed a man cursed by the church itself. Prince, excommunicated, a crusade doomed before it began, and a Christian army shattered, not by Muslim swords, but by betrayal, madness, and arrogance from within. This is the story the church hoped you would forget. This is the forbidden history of the heretic prince who led a Christian army to ruin. His name was Frederick, but history remembers him by a darker title, Frederick II, the apostate emperor. A man born into power, raised by enemies, and crowned by fate, but damned by faith. The year was 1227. The Fifth Crusade had failed miserably. Christian blood soaked the deserts of Egypt, and the walls of Jerusalem still echoed with the call to prayer. Europe was desperate for a new champion, and the Holy Roman Emperor promised salvation. Frederick II was no ordinary ruler. He spoke 6 languages. He debated scholars of Islam and Judaism. He admired Arabic science more than papal sermons. And worse, he questioned the very authority of the Pope. To the church, he was dangerous. To the people, he was a paradox. To himself, he was the true protector of Christendom, even if he had to defy Christ's own vicar on earth. But the Pope saw through him. Pope Gregory IX knew Frederick's charm was a mask. A man who delayed his crusade over and over again, always promising, always lying. Until finally, enough was enough. In 1227, as thousands of knights gathered in Apulia, ready to embark for the Holy Land, the Pope did the unthinkable. He excommunicated the Holy Roman Emperor. Imagine it. The leader of the most powerful Christian empire cast out. An emperor declared heretic by the very faith he claimed to serve. And yet, Frederick went anyway. The Pope screamed in outrage. How could a heretic lead a crusade? How could the church allow an excommunicated prince to wear the cross? But Frederick had no intention of following the church's rules. He would take Jerusalem, but he would do it his way. No battles, no bloodshed, no permission. He sailed east, his fleet trembling under disease and storms. Men died by the hundreds, but Frederick pressed on. When he arrived in the Levant, he found chaos. The kingdom of Jerusalem was a fractured shell. The Templars hated him. The Hospitallers refused to obey. The local barons distrusted him. But he had one advantage. The Sultan of Egypt, Al-Kamil, respected him. They spoke, not with swords, but with philosophy. Al-Kamil admired Frederick's mind. Frederick admired the Sultan's tolerance. They debated astronomy and Aristotle. They quoted the Quran and the Gospels. 2 enemies, discovering they were more alike than their priests would ever admit. And then something unheard of happened. They struck a deal. No siege, no massacre, no last stand. In 1229, Frederick II, heretic, outcast, blasphemer, entered Jerusalem not as a conqueror, but as a negotiator. The city, sacred to 3 faiths, was handed over to him without a single drop of blood. For the first time in nearly a century, Jerusalem was back under Christian control. But there was no joy, no triumph, no fanfare. Why? Because the church refused to recognize it. The Pope spat venom. This was not a crusade. This was heresy. How could a city be holy when taken by a man who defied the Holy Father? Frederick crowned himself in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre alone. No bishop, no priest, only silence. The Christian knights looked away. The Muslim guards watched in eerie quiet. And the bells of Jerusalem did not ring. Frederick returned to Europe in disgrace. Despite restoring Jerusalem, he was still cursed. He had broken every rule, defied every commandment of war. He made peace when the world demanded war. The Pope declared the treaty void. The Church said it was Satan's work. And yet, Jerusalem remained Christian for 15 more years. What Frederick had done was unheard of. He had proven that diplomacy could succeed where crusades had failed, that understanding might triumph over fanaticism. But the Church didn't want proof. They wanted obedience, so they erased him. His name was blackened in chronicles. Clerics painted him as an antichrist. Legends accused him of being a sorcerer, a devil, a hidden Muslim. Some claimed he held secret meetings with the assassins. Others whispered that he studied forbidden books in Arabic. And there were darker rumors still, that Frederick planned to create a new religion, a fusion of Christianity, Islam, and ancient philosophy, a universal faith, one that needed no pope. If that was his dream, it died with him. In 1250, Frederick II passed away, but not before launching a war against the papacy itself. A final rebellion, a clash not of swords, but of ideas. He was buried in Palermo, far from Rome, far from Jerusalem. And yet, the world has not forgotten. Today, some call him the first modern ruler. Others call him a dangerous heretic. But one truth remains. He took Jerusalem without lifting a sword. And for that, the church never forgave him. This is not the story told in Sunday sermons. This is not the version written in papal records. But it is a chapter carved in shadow, of a prince damned for his peace, of a crusade that won by surrender, and of a holy war undone by one man's refusal to hate. Frederick II's legacy is not one of glory, but of tragedy, not of miracles, but of mischances. And yet, in the ruins of forgotten crusades, his name still echoes, not as a saint, not as a hero, but as the heretic prince, who dared to bring peace to a world that only understood war.